Happy Aloha Friday. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I am one of your hosts for today, Sister Janae. Welcome to another radio show of Hawaii Pacific. I am not alone, but I'm here with...
Good morning, good evening, and a very, very good afternoon. Welcome to INCRadio Hawaii Pacific. As she has mentioned, Aloha Friday. Time check, it is currently 10:01 p.m. So, welcome, and we're so glad to have you here on the show. We say this every single week, and we never tell our guests to say it, but they already know. We say we missed you. We never tell the guests, but they're such avid listeners and viewers that they already know it. Now, every single week, we always say, we miss you.
He watches every week.
He does watch every single week. He does. We didn't say his name. We actually don't know his name.
We don't know his name
until he explains it, right? But welcome back again to INCRadio Hawaii Pacific. Glad to be here as co-host. Sister Janae, you are the main host for today.
What?
Yeah, you're the main host. You're dictating the entire show. So, you can let us know.
We're Josh, our co-host.
You are the main host. I'm the co-host. You are the captain. Okay. So we're so glad to have you here again on radio. There's a lot of you that we see are commenting down, and we want to also be a part of the conversation that you have. Actually, let's read just 3 comments. Let's read from the first one. From Kajoseph Roncall. He says, happy viewing from the local congregation of #WHA or #Wahiwa. From the next one, from Kaerds, he says, Aloha Friday to all brethren worldwide from #Wihui. And then, Sister Janae, what is the next one that we have right here?
We have from Clavach, happy viewing from the local congregation of #AMS American Samoa.
American Samoa. And speaking of American Samoa, Brian Adisiete actually comes down as well. Said, good evening, aloha and talofa from American Samoa for #AMS. So thank you again for commenting down. We hope that you can continue to comment down. We have a lot of different things we want to hear your opinion on. We also have our icebreaker question that our lovely brethren here have generated, and we're going to tell that to you very, very soon. Brother Jandal is actually going to come onto the mic, and he's going to say it. I'm just joking.
Yeah, the mic extends actually. Really.
But anyway, I've spoken to my sister Janae. Please tell us, who is this brother?
Well, before we get into our brother, we don't forget to comment down your hashtags.
Oh.
#EWA.
What does EWA stand for?
Alpha.
Oh. I think you can do #WPH instead. That stands for Hawaii Pacific, actually. So if you're from Hawaii Pacific and you want to show your pride, show your support, #WPH is the acronym. No, it's not the 3-digit code that you should put down. But anyway, now let's get back onto the track.
Yes, I would love to introduce our host, but we'll make that. Host? Oh, sorry, not host. Actually, host, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
He's so flattered. Brother, would you like to introduce yourself, what locale you're from, and a fun fact about you?
Great. Yeah. Good evening and aloha. My name is Brother June Reyes. I'm here from the local of Wahiwa, and I happen to be the head deacon of this local. I'm a retired military and an engineer by profession.
Yeah, I actually spoke about it with June earlier, and I didn't know he was a retired military.
Oh, what branch were you part of?
I retired Navy, but I am call it CDs. So part of the Navy has a construction battalion. So basically, it's an engineering department of the Navy. And we don't go on a ship. We build roads, building, barracks. So before the Navy can get into a specific site or the Army, our battalion would go in first and build the water supply and all that kind of stuff. Good.
So you said you guys would build barracks. Would they be the barracks that people would just like live in? Like, oh, sorry, duh, but like,
Yeah. So we do, we call it, there's a expeditionary. This is kind of like within 48 hours, you have to build a structure where the troops can come in and and have the food and sleeping areas and all the utilities needed
you said 40 hours?
within 48 hours.
Oh, 40
48
wow.
hours.
48 hours.
Whoa.
That's 2 days?
That is
That's
today.
crazy.
So those are preset, really quick structures that we
So what again, is it like very bare bones?
bare bones, but they're actually good structures, solid structure. Some are made out of steel, but they're prefabricated. We come in through a barge or loading dock, or some through airplanes. Anything you can do. We come in with tractors, with cranes, with stuff within that particular hour. So it's a quick, very quick setup. But
That's very cool.
it's also now used for, I don't know if you've seen some of the hurricane relief.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those
Structures are used.
yeah. So we have call that steel bridges called Bailey Bridge that are put together, and if the river need to be connected, the lands need to be connected. So we build stuff like that. Bridge are damaged.
Okay, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so like just randomly, my friend, she was also in the military, and she actually lived on an island that was connected to land by bridge. Would you get with the Navy? Would you say like the Navy had part in that too?
Yes. So those are the type of structures that we build.
Wow. Okay.
Are there also construction battalions in the other branches of the military?
The Army has call it engineering. The Air Force has we have a counterpart called the Red Horse, but they're mostly not as expedient as the Navy CBs, we call it. The construction battalion, we work hand in hand with the Marine Corps.
Oh,
So we don't wear the uniforms of a typical Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Our uniforms are like Marines,
oh,
and each one is trained not only to build but also to fight. So the motto of the unit is we build and we fight.
oh.
I've never, sorry, excuse me. I've never heard of like the Navy or like someone who's in the Navy and would not be on a ship. Because I believe we do have a friend that is in the Navy,
Yes.
but he's on a ship. Yeah.
I couldn't handle the ship.
Mm.
I'm seasick.
Mhm.
So,
Oh.
I would be seasick too. Yeah. Okay.
So these are just these are just one of the jobs where you're not going to be on a ship. You're always in different locations.
we're always in different locations. So I've been from my 20 years career. I've been in a lot of different nice places, from Spain to Italy to Korea, Guam, Micronesia, Samoa,
Wow.
all that nice places.
Wow, a lot of different
That's
places that you've had to, and each of them were within 48 hours. They had to build a structure.
Yes. So some of those are when the 48 hours come in, when an event happened that we are required to be there, and sometimes most cases those are emergency type really not necessarily uh, a war, but it's a hurricane that hits an island. So let's say, I think we did one where we had hurricane hit in Saipan. So,
I think
so
I've heard
we
of
helped.
that one. One of the many infamous ones.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Are you usually there on site in helping construct, or more so in the office?
my job is I was an engineering aide, call it. It's the railing. The engineer aide basically makes sure that the foundation that they will put this, let's say the column or the beam is unstable, so stable rod. So we check the soil compaction. We check the concrete strength. Basically, we're not only in the office, but we're also in the field, making sure the alignment is correct.
Mm.
We use our transit, our levels. Now we have GPS. Back in the days, it's all manual levels and transit. So
Oh.
we used a lot of trigonometry and geometry to come up with an echolocation. So not only in war, but it's in construction field.
Wow.
You have to make sure everything is level, otherwise you'll collapse.
So would you be doing like just math on paper?
Yeah,
with the
we do
trigonometry?
math on paper. During that time, there's no AutoCAD, there's no
Wow, that's
digital,
crazy.
so everything is done by hand. So
Mhm.
we used tracing papers and rulers and slide rules and all that.
You see, I took I mean, no, sorry, I took I took trigonometry in high school and geometry in high school as well. And even with the calculator, I can say it was tough.
I agree.
I can't imagine doing like from what I remember, I can't imagine doing like a square root of something.
I actually don't remember trigonometry.
Me neither. I mean, I think there's a square root.
Yeah, there's a square root in something.
Yeah,
Math.
yeah. There you go. It's the math. Yeah.
That's cool. From all of the different projects that you worked on, what would you say is the hardest in terms of math skills?
I'd say one of the projects that I've had when after I retired from the military, I joined the Army Corps of Engineers. So the Army Corps takes care of the whole United States when it comes to any calamities, be it on water, on ground. The Army Corps takes care of that. So all the money from the government goes into the Army Corps for relief, just like what's happened in Maui. But what project I had was the saving of the salmon. It's some salmon in called coho salmon in the Pacific region. And that includes Washington all the way to Canada and California, all that West Coast. So there was a problem with the extinction of the salmon. So particular salmon, they want to save it. So the project was very extensive in building a salmon type mimicking a salmon all that
Habitat.
like habitat, like a training ground. So it's not only it requires studying about the salmon, but how to come up with a design to mimic rivers and dams and falls.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Which is really good.
I never thought like the Army would assist in. I feel like they would only assist the people, but like hearing what our brother June has to say or his story from back in the day, I didn't know they would help salmon.
Mhm.
Right? I find that very cool.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
So when you were mentioning salmon, I thought it was like people. Yeah, dribble
Oh,
people.
like I thought that was like a code name.
Yeah, I thought it was like a military code name. Salmon 1-1.
I was like, that's a really cool
Wow.
code name.
So
Sorry.
how long did it take from researching all the way until the finishing of the construction? How long did that project take?
So the research alone took 5 years.
Ooh,
Oh,
So it took
years.
5 years for the research studying actual counting,
Mhm.
doing all the feasibility study, where the salmon migrated, the temperature of the water. So everything was all studied during that time. And from there, so there's a group of team that did the research study, but my team was to do the actual final design.
Wow.
So,
final
which is
design.
we actually did the uh, series of dams and falls and rivers and amazing. So if anyone can go to uh, the Walla Walla district. So the Walla Walla district is a Army Corps district that deals with the salmon
Mm.
in Washington State. So it's really nice, but it's great because at the end when I left there, I was only there a year, but when I left, I've been still asking questions of what happened to the coho salmon. So it is now no longer on extinction.
Oh, that's
Oh
cool.
wow.
Great. So
That's really cool.
It
That's
is.
I think really cool is an understatement though.
That is, you helped save a certain species to or to stop it from going extinct. That's actually a really big feat.
Yeah, salmon's like really good.
But salmon is I don't know if that's particular salmon is meant for eating. You research that. Is that salmon meant for eating? It's called Kobo salmon. Yeah, Kobo salmon. Could you see if that's meant to be eaten?
That's
If
the
it's,
whole.
if it's not meant for eating, sorry. But if it is,
yeah, you'd be surprised how many salmons, type of salmons.
is that structure still there in Washington State?
The structure still there.
Wow. You said,
Have you? Oh, sorry.
continue.
Have you ever visited after a while?
No, I never had a chance to see the some of the other we call it salmon facilities. Like San Francisco, I've seen those,
Mm.
but some of the ones that we built in Warm Spring Dam, called Warm Spring Dam in California, that goes to all the like I said, the Pacific region.
Mhm.
So amazing how they track salmon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They track salmon. They put um, uh, like a way to identify salmons from the fingerlings. They call it fingerlings
Mhm.
before they release them out to the ocean, and then it goes to the spawning season, and at the end they realize how many salmons were you know they have to return back from all the way from California to Washington to Canada and then come back. The salmons come back to where they came from.
That's a
Amazing.
Wow.
very long distance.
And as you said, that's unbelievable how they can just track
Yeah.
what these certain species
Yeah,
of fish are
there's.
doing.
I can't imagine how much salmon they had to track.
How much time you had to track
Yeah.
to see where they were going, where they would be going. That's really interesting. And when was this structure that you helped be built?
The one I built was called Warm Spring Dam.
What year was that?
This was I retired in 2002, so we did the design 2002, 2003. I think it was built around 2004, 2000.
Oh.
Wow.
Not sure exactly when it was completed, but I know it's going to take years to build.
Mhm. So it's most likely its 20th anniversary of that structure being built. Would you say that is your most proudest achievement that you're a part of?
Not really. My most proud is,
Here we go. Here we
yeah,
go.
my most proud is obviously anything that deals with the church.
Mhm.
You know, the passion that was mostly hydraulic, and so it's a good mixture of hydraulic and structural engineering. You know, building a dam and building different structure for how the salmon rotates. You know, there's a lot of different uh, engineering, but most satisfying, obviously, is having to do with church building or repairing from the local of Hayward. So my name was still engraved on those plans that I
Oh, is it?
stamped and signed. So
Oh, that's so
so
cool.
local of Hayward, some other locals in California.
The local of Hayward is in California.
Yeah, the local,
Okay.
Northern California.
Oh,
That's really cool.
And this one I have
oh, for real?
and our local here in Waiwa have a lot more stake on this. So
Is your name also engraved somewhere?
no, not engraved here,
It's actually here on
but
this
I-
wall.
Not
but
yet.
I did help. But a friend of mine that was working with me had the contract for the design of this building.
Oh, that's really cool.
That is really cool.
But me as civil, I just did mostly the parking lot and other things.
Wow.
That one I
Yeah.
I can't engrave it on the parking lot.
I think
You could.
I think having, like looking at this chapel and knowing that you've had a part in building this chapel, even though it was just a parking lot, it really is nice to see your work come into fruition. It's like, I did that, and I was able to help this church to be where it is today.
Mhm. How do you feel knowing that your work helped in the construction of various chapels in the church?
It's I think it's satisfying. It's really a fulfillment of what you dream about, what you want to be from childhood to now retiring. You see even not necessarily building, but to be have a small part. Like a good example is when we acquire this land of Waiwa, and even the land in the lot in Ever Beach. We have to explain to the church administration, why, and with some engineering knowledge and understanding, having done so many studies, so many presentations and briefings and convincing government officials and military. So now it's time to use it to help understand, the church administration to understand and convince that this is a nice place. This is this is the church will grow in this and will have a very nice structure where people can see and we can all be proud to go in and worship.
And what you said is very true. The structure is beautiful, and a lot of people, especially people who aren't part of the Church of Christ, when I get into conversation with them, and I'm like, "Oh, that church? Oh, the big one, the super nice one." That is always the words that come out of my mouth. The big one that's along the main road that is super nice,
Yes.
and it's very cool. How do you have that vision already? When you look at a lay of the land, are you able to picture it in your head?
Yeah, so that's the good thing about an engineer. Same thing with an architect that has a vision of how everything will turn into or look like. We were building the Guam, in Harmon Road, understanding the Harmon Road goes from the mall to the airport,
Mhm.
and the location of the church to have a night chapel there would be really nice. So it's it's you can sense uh, from a standpoint of where the transportation come and go. Sometimes you also look at the all the structures around. You know, if it's free land, you can have a nice perspective of the chapel. And I think even in the Philippines, you see some of the chapels that are being built that are way up on the mountain sometimes. But when you start building the road around it, when you realize that, I mean, you don't see anything now, but in 10 years when you start building, roads and the structures around it, the chapel will be, the standing point of that community.
I think that skill is that's a really good skill to have.
It is.
Plays a big part with creativity, and I think from hearing like about the skill that you have, brother, I feel like a big part that also plays into it is being patient, because of course building a chapel is it's a very lengthy process, and you know I can't imagine, you just think of something and then you see it in like coming something years and it's just doing so well. And then it's also a really cool skill that you're taking into consideration about these buildings, about certain roads, and then you being able to talk about that to the church administration as well. Like, I think I wish I had that skill. That's really cool.
That is,
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. That is really cool. It's one thing to already have that vision, to see a possible completed structure already in your head, but it's another thing to convince others of that vision that you have. To be like, this would be a good location. Having these certain how qualities of the structure
Mhm.
would be good instead of this because of this. But being able to explain that is definitely a skill that's very needed.
Yes, especially when you're looking at a plain lot of land and it's like very vast and it's like I have so much land, I don't know what to do with it.
That's actually how I felt looking before Ever Beach was built.
Mhm.
When it was just an empty lot, and I would always pass by it, and I heard from the other brethren like, yeah, this is where Ever Beach Travel was going to be. And I don't know if they were joking at the time or
Yeah.
if they were actually serious. So every time I would have the chance to pass by it, I would look at it and I'd say, I wonder how this chapel would look like.
Mhm.
I wonder how it's going to be, when it's finally completed, how big the lot is going to be. Because I already saw that how expansive that lot was.
Mhm.
I knew that the chapel wasn't going to take up the entire space.
Mhm.
So I knew that there was going to be a big parking lot, and I wondered how it was going to look. And it didn't match my vision at all.
Oh, I was just gonna ask that.
Didn't match my vision at all, but I got the part down that it was going to have a big parking lot.
Yes, you did. Big parking lot. Yeah, very big parking lot.
Very big parking lot. That's great.
I know you're talking about how you would talk to members of or people outside of the church
Mhm.
that you would talk with them about like, the chapel, Ever Beach Chapel.
Mhm.
And I also want to talk about my parents who were also amazed because we were going to go get food and they were because my parents are not members, right? So they're very amazed, they were like, oh, this is the chapel that you go to? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like I still get amazed till this day. I've been in Ever Beach for like a year and I still sit in the choir loft and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm here performing. Because I remember um, again back in 2018 when we did have our 50th anniversary in the far west, I was still in shock at how big the chapel was and knowing that I'm talking to a brother who had a part,
Mhm.
who had a role in making this possible, making this chapel possible, along with the help of other brethren and also our Almighty God. So, very cool.
Good.
So cool.
Do you feel that same way when you look at the chapels and you know that you have played a part?
Yeah, it is. It is really, really great to be part of that. Even though my portion is really part. The designer was that friend of mine. Is also did the design through the church administration, of course, and the contractor. So technically, my portion was only when we try not acquire the land,
Mhm.
but I'd like to be part of that more. In fact, after I retire, I realized that maybe I should. There's a lot of things, and it's not always perfect. Building, even the church is not always perfect. And sometimes you wish, oh, we could have done that. We can have done this, but uh, my part, because I'm not really more on the actual construction, but more on the plan. Like I said, my vision. For some reason, my vision to build something on a particular place is from the training I had from the military, from almost nothing scratch to seeing how the base comes in.
And I really think it's really nice how you use your skills prior or from your jobs before to even help the church till this day. So, how knowing that you did travel around a lot, how were you able to still remain faithful in your membership, even though you did have to travel around a lot and you probably had a lot of obstacles along the way? How did you still remain strong?
That's always my prayers. That any place I go, from Diego Garcia to American Samoa, anything that I can help. Uh, uh, Even when I'm active duty, when I'm actually military, I've always prayed that I can be used. If there's no chapel, I can build a chapel or help, get land or chapel there or get all the brethren together. So, and God has been so great to me and good to me that, even though I was in Diego Garcia, this is a remote place. We built a chapel out of two conic boxes and beautiful after it was built. So and through the help of the brethren, we did a lot of small things, but it is fulfilling when it's completed and you're able to attend a church, with a group of 50 contractors, and then we were able to get the ministers to come and and perform, to lead a worship service instead of playing tape recorders. That was really wonderful. So anywhere I go, even if there's during that time, there was no, we didn't have a lot of ministers. So a lot of overseas work or services are done by video, not even video, it was a cassette tape.
Wow.
And that is a mindset that not a lot of people can have. And like, oh, there's no place of worship here. We'll just make a place of worship.
Right? I'm just built on it.
That is God's mercy. Absolutely. Wow. We're just hearing your stories from not only in your regular work, but also in how your work impacts the church. We're so awestruck at how amazing that is. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. And Brother June, we've asked you a lot of different questions here. Questions that weren't on. We're not at all what we discussed before. But we're so glad that you were able to be here with us, to talk with us, and to explain your different jobs that you're a part of, or projects rather, as a engineer, contract within the military. And not only hearing that, but how you continued your work even outside of the military, especially for the Church of Christ. And that's something very, very inspiring that we would love to speak more about. But we know we are getting close to the end of the show. So we want to make sure that we are on time, on schedule. But Sister Janae, go ahead and ask us this question right here.
Okay.
For
So our final question for the night, unfortunately,
Brother
what lessons have you learned that molded you to be who you are?
Lesson learned. I think that my biggest lesson is, that I want to have the younger children. And good thing my children did follow some of a lot of this instruction. My son is an engineer also.
Wow.
So he's a civil structural engineer.
Oh,
So he can, he had that same vision also, that if a church is needing him, he would be willing to help. So the same, learn. What I learned is that the lesson learned is that anything you do, engineer or not engineer, as long as you keep God, in your plan, in your choice of career, you will never fail. It's just a matter of time. You may have trials. It took me 20 years to actually use my engineering skill in the church. I have to be in active duty. But in the long run, it will happen. It's not all about money. It's about fulfilling, and fulfilling includes God being in your plan.
yeah, I think sometimes we do get a little, we do have like tunnel vision, too busy focusing on our career when we sometimes need to do take like a step back and realize that where we are right now is because of our Almighty God. And especially what Brother Drayton said, it took him 20 years to finally use his skills. And I think that was really all in our Almighty God's plan, to help to make you help build chapels and help you acquire land. I believe we were talking about. Yeah. And it's very inspirational. I will gladly take those inspiring words, because I am also in the same boat right now, trying to figure out my career, knowing that all I have to do is also focus on what God has, or what He has planned out for me. Not only what I want, but what He wants for my life as
well. Very well said, both of you. And I'm not going to add any more, but rather I want to read from the YouTube comment section the things that the brethren are saying about you, Brother June. From Cabran and Siete. This one is actually very nice. Cabran says, engineers are responsible for building structures and establishing foundations. Brother June's strong foundation in his faith as a true officer of the Brother June's strong foundation is in his faith as a true officer of the Church of Christ. Praises be to God. And that's true.
Thank you.
Another one, it says, I have to scroll down. There's so many that they're saying. Daniel Martinez is saying, thank you so much for June for all of your sacrifices and dedication. The CJ is saying, so inspiring. Thank you, Kajun. Another comment that was down from Daniel actually says, until now, the brethren are still worshiping there in Diego Garcia. They're extending their thanks to you.
well, that was in Singapore.
That was in Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And the theme of these comments from the brethren are saying that your stories are very inspiring. And it's inspiring to us here
Very
as hosts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Thank you. Also,
I know you mentioned before, then this is what we say with all of the guests. You're always like, oh, it's so nervous, so nerve-wracking. What we notice is like, you're really good at talking.
Very good. Very good at storytelling. You
Yeah,
told the story very well.
Your story is amazing.
Yeah.
I think with and this also plays into the skills that you've learned as an engineer. In that presentation, whatever presentation you have to give to other stakeholders or government officials or even church administration, I think that skill is also being used right now in explaining your experiences as an engineer on radio. Would you? Yes, agree. Yes. Fair enough, but it's okay. It's being used. Yes. Nod your head. Just nod your head.
Nod your head.
But Brother June, thank you again for joining us here on INCRadio. As we close out our show, we just have a few more things that we want to explain to you, rather, the viewers and listeners all around the world. Sister Janae, could you please tell us what are some of the upcoming activities that we
Yes.
should be aware of?
For upcoming activities, we have our Binhi dinner, which is September 29 tomorrow at the Eva Beach Function Hall. For more questions, please message your Binhi, your CFO,
CFO officers?
officer. Yeah.
Yeah, the officers.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Officer.
We have our Kadima formal October 20th. Please save the date.
There you go. So two very important ones. Tomorrow is the Bidney Dinner. That's true. No, that's not tomorrow. It is Friday. On Sunday,
Oh, sorry.
October 20th,
Sunday.
I feel
Brother Jindal's telling me Sunday, so
it is Sunday.
yes, it's Sunday.
That's
And
correct.
today's Friday. Sorry.
I made the exact same mistake just now.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's late. It's late, but it's okay. We want to thank all of you again for tuning into INCRadio by Pacific. We are truly appreciative that you continue to tune in every single week, and we hope to see you again next week. But before we conclude our show, we want to give some additional shout-outs and special thanks. But before that, we want to ask Brother June one last question. Do you have any shout-outs that you'd like to give?
shout out to my family, my wife, my kids. Maybe watching now. My son is in in Japan.
Oh,
Yeah, family in Japan, and of course, shout out to my fellow brethren in Wahiwa.
yay. Everyone's just, round of applause. Round of applause for Luigi. Round of applause in the front. But thank you again, Brother June, Sister Janae, for being on the panel tonight. Special thanks before we close out the show. Hopefully, my throat isn't too dry. However, special thanks to our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo Viminal. We also want to give a special thanks to our CFO Coordinator and CEBSI President, Brother Angelo Arroyo. I want to give a special thanks to our District Supervising Minister, Brother Jem H. Baitang, our Assistant District Minister, Brother Altora Costol, our CFO Overseer, Brother Brandon Pacheco, and to all of the ministers, ministerial workers, and their families who are continuing to support us here in the satellite studio of INCRadio Hawaii Pacific. So thank you again so much for tuning in to INCRadio Hawaii Pacific. We're actually ending on time, which is really good. Really round of applause for Brother June again. But before we conclude our show, we just want to give another special thanks to all of you for continuing to watch INCRadio Hawaii Pacific. We shall see you again. We love you, and we already miss you. And aloha! Actually, I hope it is one of the best tasting salmon.
See, I'm not.